Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Bob's Live, our weekly show right here on the internet. And, well, let's address the elephant in the room first. I have lost a significant amount of hair over the last week since you saw me last. And that's because I am going to be having a medical procedure later here at the end of the month and need to have a clean shaven face for it. So, that being said, next week is going to be our last episode of Bob's Live for the year, and then we'll probably be off for a couple weeks and then resuming sometime in January. But first, to get things started off, I see Patty just like the stream. And of course, if you're watching, go ahead and hit the like button, share the stream so other people can watch. And as always, we've got the comment box right here. So leave a comment, question, smart remark, whatever you got, and I'll jump back to it throughout the episode. This week, I wanted to hit on a couple different things. And the first thing is our Christmas trees. So, over the last few weeks, we've shared TikToks and Reels here on Facebook and Shorts over on YouTube or wherever you're watching, Twitter. We've also shared stuff there, or X now. But we've shared information about our Christmas trees. It's really cool this year. We've found a new Christmas tree supplier. They're based out of Western North Carolina's Cartner's Christmas Tree Farm. And they were impacted by Hurricane Helene. So, if you're purchasing a Christmas tree from us, that money is going, to help the economy in that area. But also a really cool thing is they actually supplied the Christmas tree for the Blue Room in the White House this year. So if you head over to our TikTok, and I believe it's also up on X, and probably a Facebook reel too, you can actually see the ceremony where they're cutting down that Christmas tree. It just so happened that Eddie, our truck driver who was picking up the Christmas trees, happened to be down there at the same time and was able to record it. But this week, I thought we would head up to Belpre, where you can finally go and see the Christmas trees on display. And if you like live Christmas trees, pick out your own. So we have trees available at Belpre, Mason, and Gallipolis. But up at our Belpre store, we have enough space up there where we can actually do our Christmas trees inside. So on a day, getting a little tongue-tied, on a day like today when it's pouring down the rain and chilly out, you can go inside there and pick out your Christmas tree where it's nice and warm and dry. So let's head up to Belpre. A couple weeks ago, we shared video of our Christmas trees being harvested and loaded in Newland, North Carolina at the Cartner Christmas Tree Farm. And now they're here at our Belpre location. We also have them at Mason and at Gallipolis. But here at Belpre, if it is cold and rainy outside, you don't have to worry about it because we keep the Christmas trees inside here where we have the space. So come on out and pick out the perfect Christmas tree for your home. All right, so yeah, that is a quick look at our Christmas trees. And of course, the one tool that you need to bring whenever you go to buy a Christmas tree is a tape measure. Wow, that's weird. My tape measure is clear. um, just so happened the tape measure that I have here in the office is green, and I've got a green screen behind me, so that doesn't work too well. Um, but yeah, you need a tape measure because you need to measure where you're going to put your tree. That way, you know how tall of a tree to get, also how wide of a tree. And then the other tool that you need when you get home with your tree is a saw. And you want to use your tape measure and go up about 1 to 2 inches on the tree trunk and cut off the bottom of the tree trunk. What happens with live Christmas trees is after they're cut, that pine sap dries on the end, and it really helps because it kind of seals in the freshness, but it also forms a plug there where water can't make its way up into the tree. So as soon as you get the tree home, right before you stick it in the stand and fill up the stand with water, you want to make a cut so that way you're exposing fresh wood. And the main thing is the phloem. That is a layer in the bark that actually pulls the water up into the tree. You can get into all the weird additives and stuff. I know there's folks that say, oh, put sugar in with the tree. Really, just plain old water works best. So, yeah, that is quick tip for tree shopping. I just created a tongue twister there. That was fun. Um, but yeah, tape measure for tree shopping. That is your one main tool that you need. And of course, most folks put their Christmas tree in the same spot every year. So once you do it 1 or 2 times, you know what size tree you need. And at our stores, we have the trees labeled based off of height, and they're sold based off of height too. So the pricing is dependent on their height. Up next, let's take a look at the weather, because right now we've got a little bit of a heat wave going on. It is 55 outside right now, but that is about to change. So looking at the extended forecast here, we are looking at temperatures dropping down Wednesday into Thursday. We're looking at some snow tomorrow, and then it is going to be blooming cold on Thursday. We're looking at a high of 33 and a low of 20. They've actually increased the low temperature a little bit. It was going to get down to like 15. So, yay, we got 5 degrees, but still at that cold of a temperature, especially after this warm fall that we've had. There's not, it just feels cold. Going along with the weather, just to mention it, we do have a new episode of the Keep Growing podcast out. And also, December's Almanac is up on our website. So the two things sort of go together. Of course, this time of year, there's not a lot of work to be done out in the garden. So this month on the Keep Growing podcast, I talk about some tips for caring for your houseplants. So just the other day, I kind of moved some of my houseplants around here in my office to kind of give some of them more light, some of them that need less light during the winter. I moved a little bit. But also, I have a little humidifier here in the office. And it's crazy because I never do well with them in the wintertime, but I'm trying to nurse a Kimberly fern through in my office. We had some planted out front of the office, and I took a little baby off of it. And I'm trying to nurse it through this winter. And I basically moved it so the humidifier is blowing directly on it. Um, so yeah, if you're looking for houseplant care tips for this winter, check out our podcast. It's the Keep Growing podcast, and it's available on all of the podcast networks. And well, speaking of weather and gardening and the almanac, another thing that you could be doing this time of year is working out in your garden, weather permitting, of course, and doing things like fall cleanup. It's still not too late to do that. In fact, I was just out last week doing some cleanup in my own garden. Um, both of these videos tonight I have a beard in because they were previously recorded. Uh, but yeah, I had a massive cleanup job to do in my garden this year because, well, I didn't raise a garden over the summer and it got a little bit brushy. Uh, so I did it in chunks, and well, over the last couple weeks, I finished up the last big chunk of the garden. The next thing that I had to tackle is the mulch. But here is a little bit of finishing up the garden cleanup. And of course, this time of year, if you look outside right now, it is stinking dark out. So, of course, I was outside with a headlamp on working in the garden.
All right, this evening I am out here in the garden where I just finished clearing off all the garden beds. And behind me right here, I have a huge pile of brush to burn. For the last few weeks, because it was extremely dry, West Virginia had a burning ban. So you couldn't burn anything outside. And now where we've had some wet weather, that ban's been lifted. So I could take care of this last big brush pile here in my garden. I still have the wildflower section to do, so we'll do that in a later video. But we'll go ahead and light this up, and then I'm going to work on the beds a little bit more. Alrighty. Whew. That stuff is really going up.
So that is cleaning up my garden. And yeah, Deborah, she just commented and said, more excited to visit you in the spring. So many beautiful choices. And yeah, so this coming spring, we've got some great stuff planned. Actually, we just had a planning meeting last week. Um, Something that we do is meet monthly, and one of the things that we talked about in this month's planning meeting is some of the new varieties that we're going to be having this spring. So this coming month in January, when we're kind of looking forward to the year ahead, I'm going to be talking about garden trends and some of the new varieties that we're going to be having on the horizon. And then, of course, this spring, all throughout the growing season, I'll be out in the greenhouse showing you from seedling to full size plant, um, us growing stuff. So, right now, I was uptown just last week. The little baby ferns that we've seen previously on Bob's Live, they just got transplanted into hanging baskets. And if you drive by up at our production facility that's in behind Dollar General in the upper end of Mason, this time of the evening, well, it'll be coming on at about 6:15 in the evening. You'll notice a pink glow right now. And that is grow lights for the ferns up there. So, probably in next week's episode, I'll go up and shoot a video of the ferns up there at the greenhouse to show you how they're coming along for next spring. Of course, they have the longest crop time out of anything that we grow. It takes a full 9 months to grow them. So that's something to look forward to. Oh, and Patty says, oh, I was talking about the weather a little bit ago. She says -20 wind chill in Chicago Thursday. And I'm complaining about 20 degrees here Thursday night. So, yeah, I guess we can count our blessings here in the Mid Ohio Valley. And, well, that is all that I have for this week's episode. Um, at our stores right now, we have hanging baskets, or not hanging baskets, I was just talking about hanging baskets, fern baskets, fruit baskets, there we go. See, I was close, I was 50% right. But right now is fruit basket time. So stop by our stores, get your order in. We have ready-made fruit baskets ready to go out the door. We also have some really nice gift boxes right now. I've shared video of those here on Facebook. So yeah, some great gift ideas right now at our store locations. We've got ready-made gift boxes, fruit baskets, and then also, if you've got a green thumb in the family, a Bob's Market gift card is a great choice. You can either pick them up in our stores, or you can buy them right on our website at bobsmarket.com. Yeah, and Amanda says, we just got our tree from Belpre. Beautiful. So many choices. Always love getting our trees from Bob's. Yeah, and as I said, we've gone with a new company this year, Cartner's Christmas Tree Farm out of Newland, North Carolina. And I think we're going to have a great partnership with them looking ahead into the future for supplying our Christmas trees. And, well, that is all that I have for this week's episode of Bob's Live. So until next time, keep growing.